What is the matter?" she said, noticing the disturbed expression on his face. "Well," he said, "there has been an accident, a very bad accident." "Who?" she said. "Not my father?" "No, no, Mr. Cossey." "Oh," she said with a sigh of relief. "Why did you frighten me so?" The Colonel smiled grimly at this unconscious exhibition of the relative state of her affections. "What has happened to him?" asked Ida, this time with a suitable expression of concern. "He has been accidentally shot." "By whom?" "Mrs. Quest." "Then she did it on purpose. I mean, is he dead?" "No, but I believe he will die." They looked at each other, and each read in the eyes of the other the thought which passed through their brain. If Edward Cossey died they would be free to marry. So clearly did they read it that Ida actually interpreted it in words. "You must not think that," she said. "It is very wrong." "It is wrong," answered the Colonel, apparently in no way surprised at her interpretation of his thoughts, "but unfortunately human nature is human nature." Then he went on to tell her all about it. Ida made no comment, that is, after those first words, "She did it on purpose," which burst from her in her astonishment. She felt, and he felt too, that the question as to how that gun went off was one which was best left uninquired into by them. No doubt if the man died there would be an inquest, and the whole matter would be investigated. Meanwhile one thing was certain: Edward Cossey, whom she was engaged to, was shot and likely to die. Presently, while they were still talking, the Squire came in from his walk, and to him also the story was told, and to judge from the expression of his face he thought it a serious one enough. If Edward Cossey died, the mortgages over the Honham property would, as he thought, of course pass to his heir, who, unless he had made a will, which was not probable, would be his father, old Mr. Cossey, the banker, from whom Mr. de la Molle well knew he had little mercy to expect. This was serious enough, and what was still more serious was that all the bright prospects in which he had for some days been basking of the re-establishment of his family upon a securer basis than it had occupied for generations would vanish like a vision. Now he was not more worldly minded than other men, but he did most fondly cherish the natural desire to see the family fortunes once more in the ascendant. The projected marriage between his daughter and Edward Cossey would have most fully brought this work about, and however much he might in his secret heart distrust the man himself, and doubt whether the match was really acceptable to Ida, he could not view its collapse with indifference. While they were still talking, the dressing bell rang, and Harold rose to go. "Stop and dine, won't you, Quaritch?" said the Squire. Harold hesitated and looked at Ida. She made no movement, but her eyes said stay, and he sighed and yielded. Dinner was rather a melancholy feast, for the Squire was preoccupied with his own thoughts, and Ida had not much to say, while, so far as the Colonel was concerned, the recollection of the tragedy which he had witnessed that afternoon, and of all the dreadful details with which it was accompanied, was not conducive to appetite. As soon as dinner was over, the Squire announced that he would walk into Boisingham to inquire how the wounded man was getting on, and shortly afterwards he started, leaving his daughter and the Colonel alone. They went into the drawing room and talked about indifferent things. No word of love passed between them, no word indeed that could bear even an affectionate significance, and yet every sentence they said carried a message with it, and was as heavy with unuttered passion as a bee with honey. For they loved each other dearly, and love is a thing that cannot be concealed by lovers from each other. Like the air impalpable, it is like the air surrounding, and to those who breathe it necessary and real. It was happiness to him merely to sit beside her and hear her speak, and watch the changes of her face, and the lamplight playing upon her hair, and it was happiness to her to know that he was sitting there and watching, for the most beautiful thing about deep affection is its accompanying sense of perfect companionship and rest, a sense that nothing else in this life can give, and which, like a lifting cloud, reveals a glimpse of the white peaks of that heavenly peace that we cannot hope to tread in our stormy journey through the world. And so the evening wore away till at last they heard the Squire's loud voice talking to somebody outside. Presently he entered. "How is he?" asked Harold. "Will he live?" "They cannot say," was the answer, "but two great doctors have been telegraphed for from London, and will be down to morrow." Chapter 30